Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Water Cooler. I am Sarah from Texas, and this is our place to chat all the latest celebrity news, reality TV, Jeff Lewis Live. How are you? It's Friday, and I've got tickets to a comedy show tonight, one of my most favorite things to do. My husband and I are going with two other couples out to dinner, a nice Italian dinner, and then over to Matt Matthews. So if Lisa is here, I don't know if she's on YouTube or if she's over on TikTok. Thank you for telling me about Matt Matthews. He is hilarious. A guy on TikTok, well, he's on Instagram too, I guess. He's everywhere. And he's pretty young, but he's successful. So anyways, he does like country. He's got like a farm, so he talks about his chickens a lot. I don't know. He's got a YouTube channel. Anyways, thank you for joining. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribed. I would just really appreciate it. Let's get started. Definitely want to chat about Humble Brag. I watched the podcast last night, and then we'll chat about what Jeff chatted about a lot is, and it kind of relates to Humble Brag. Does it bother you that Crystal Minkoff does the whole, oh, I'm poor, crying poor thing? Very interesting, because I definitely have my thoughts from the Humble Brag episode. And then, of course, they chatted about it today with Jeff on his first ever influencer, digital entrepreneur, content creator, whatever you want to call it, broker. I think it's more of a broker trip in Cabo. So get comfortable. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Make sure you're tapping the screen over on TikTok. I would really appreciate it. Oh, already coming in hot. Wait, what? Okay. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. Tumble. Southern Belle sells. Oh, Teresa. That's what I saw. Teresa at the end of it. I'm going to start calling you Teresa. Teresa said Matt Matthews just got a new tour bus. It's so nice. I hope it's funny because none of the other five that are going with us tonight had ever even heard of it. Oh, I forgot to put lipstick on. Jeez Louise, I've only got chapstick on. I actually wore makeup today. Look at that. Blush, foundation, mascara on the top lashes. I never do on the bottom. I'm lame. And eyeshadow. Look at me being all fancy. Got my hair in a ponytail. Okay, that's not fancy. They had never heard of him. So when Lisa in Kentucky convinced me, oh, he's coming to Houston. You got to buy tickets. I'm like, I don't even know who he is. Then I went to his TikTok and I'm like, okay, he's funny. So I've had these tickets forever and he's finally coming. Well, she has tickets in, I think it's Kentucky. I don't know where she's going. I think it's Kentucky where she's seeing him. And I think he got sick the night of her show. So she's actually seeing him after me, but she's got meet and greets tickets, so that'll be super fun. Uh-oh. Okay, Bridget's already saying that Crystal annoys her. Rob Minkoff has to be worth a fortune, and she has a company she said is worth $100 million, her coconut water. I don't understand it. It sounds greedy, but I agree that she sounds like it's an issue for a therapist. Yes, we will definitely chat about it. Raquel says, Jeff's show is becoming a let's rip off the Commonwealth people. I just can't. Oh, like with the sales of it all today. Ooh. You know what? Let me think. Gretchen says, so is Leah Black on the outs? I don't think so. But now I'm trying to think. I feel like he went to Dallas somewhat recently, and actually Leah Black wasn't there. But you have to remember, he used to go there, he said, to meet up with her and to hang out. These super quick, like barely 36-hour flights. But now he's got a boyfriend there named Ty. So now he goes to Dallas to see Ty on the weekends that Ty isn't coming to LA. So I don't think they're on the outs, but that's very interesting. Okay, I definitely want to hear your thoughts. If you watched or listened to the Humble Brag podcast, I definitely want to hear your thoughts on that. I had been told for a week or however long it's been out, oh, you got to listen to it. There's lots of drama, Joey was kind of slamming Monica, all this stuff. And I was kind of like, it just didn't want to listen to it. I started watching it because my friends had said, oh, you only got to listen to like the first 30, 40 minutes when they're talking about ChumpCon. I actually watched on YouTube the entire hour and 44 minutes. Overall, I liked them. And I didn't want, I mean, it's not that I didn't want to like them. I didn't want to end up watching the whole hour 44. I really think this group 4, as Jeff called them, because remember, for the live show at ChumpCon, he grouped together people that kind of rotated and came on to be asked questions for the live show. So they were group 4. It was Crystal Minkoff, Cynthia Bailey, Reza Farhan, and Joey Zalzig. They are all cut from the same cloth. I mean, the first 10 minutes of the show, I was like, these people are so freaking annoying. All they're doing is bitching and moaning, talking about how much money Jeff probably made at ChumpCon, kind of making snarky remarks, if you will. Reza was probably the least snarky of all 3. Like, I think he knows where his bread and butter is bread is buttered, if you will, and he was not going to make any comments. But the other 3, I felt like made some comments that I feel like Jeff wouldn't love. You know what I mean? So in the beginning of it, I was like, oh my God, all they're doing is talking about, fan social and how many they've booked and what they would do. And Cynthia was like, I got an Easter basket, but Jeff got all this other stuff like Hermes tennis shoes, whatever. And I was just like, this is annoying. But then they start getting into, so that was kind of annoying. I really thought they kind of pushed some boundaries on that. It sounded like they were begging. It just sounded whatever. So I do think Melissa says they're loved their energy and chemistry. They really do have a good chemistry and an energy. They are all cut from the same cloth. They are all reality TV people. They all want to be on reality TV. They want to be back on reality TV. They don't make that a secret. They do talk about different ways to make money and different, whatevers. They talk about not having enough money, except for Joey letting us know his biggest month ever was last month. And then he also said something about Nutrafol. He was like, look, I've been a content creator for 8 years. I've been it before all these TikTokers. And, that part of it was interesting to me because being a teeny tiny content creator now, fan account, I did think it was somewhat interesting to kind of hear of how he's evolved over the years. Because I myself have watched content creators kind of change what they chat about. And I'm like, oh, like they're a completely different audience now. And sometimes you do kind of have to reboot or pivot and, when things aren't going well. So I feel like Joey talked about that. Crystal and Cynthia and Reza were so fascinated. They're like, show me the ways, Joey. And I'm sure Joey was like getting a big old head about it. So that part may not have been interesting for everyone. I actually did think it was interesting. And I thought Crystal and Cynthia and Reza were truly interested. Like, how do I do this? When do I post? How do you edit your videos? How do you get over the insecurities of the negative comments, the positive, all the things. So there's quite a lot of talk about that. Then Cynthia kind of talked about how she, got dropped from Real Housewives of Atlanta and like what the like, whoa, and how she just jumped back in. She was like, look, I'm just going to do every, competition show, anything to keep myself on TV, to keep yourself relevant. Reza has shared this before, but he really talked again more in detail about when Shaws of Sunset ended and how it was just so sudden. He had already bought lots of his wardrobe for the upcoming season, lots of money. And I think without that money and then real estate, he really had to kind of pivot with his husband to figure out, hey, let's Airbnb this house out. We'll buy the house across the street. We're going to put in an ADU. We're going to have a renter. I mean, he's kind of talked about that, which I like because he grew up very wealthy, which he does talk about also. Talks about, the black Amex card that had his dad's name on it and all this stuff. So it was very, very interesting. Thank you so much. Marla's number 27's remind everybody to hit the thumbs up. There's 118 on YouTube. So please take a second to hit the thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. Oh, y'all talking about the prices of ChumpCon. Yeah, they kind of got confused because at the very beginning, they start focusing. They were like, every one of them were like, we started thinking about how much money Jeff has made too. Well, I think Crystal thought everyone that was there had paid the $3,000. Well, she wasn't tacking on the $700 taxes and fees, but not everybody had paid $3,000, right? So they didn't really understand that part of it when they were actually doing the money part, because they were like, 3,000, I think they came up with like 1.5 million, which is not, because not everyone. So 3,000 times, they were saying 500. Jeff has said 450 over there. Yeah, so that's 1.5 million, which we know was not the net. But also, you know, he had to pay each of the chumps $10,000. I'm sure he gave them a per diem to pay for food and things. Or maybe he didn't. I don't know. Yeah. Yvonne Gal says, I was confused about their math too. It didn't make sense to me. Yeah, they just started like going off on these tangents about it. But the fact that they were all chatting about it, like, I just don't even know if Jeff wants them chatting about like counting his coins, if you will. You know what I mean? Raquel says, is it me, or when Jeff says no, these chumps will do anything and spend whatever, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. It comes to a point it's like an insult instead of a compliment to be a chump. I mean, I definitely got the vibe that a few of them wanted to talk about how much work it was. And like, you know, even Crystal at one point's like, look, this might sound kind of snotty, but I feel like $3,000 is a bargain. Like, they got access to us, like all up in our business for 72 hours. You know, we're taking pictures, we're having conversations with them. It did sound a little whiny to me. It did sound a little like they were trying to complain. I'm like, look, Jeff is not going to love the bitch and moan fest. You know what I mean? Oh, let's all get together and bitch and moan about it. If I were one of the chump listeners that were called out by either my outfit that I wore, the behavior I did, the jewelry I wore, the purses I wore, how rich I was, the things I said, I would be appalled, because Crystal especially really called this person out. And she was like, you know, now granted, if what she said is true, it was a very rude thing to ask. Basically, somebody in kind of a drunken stupor asked Crystal something about like, is it true that Asian men have like little wieners or something like that? Well, if you know Crystal, she's married to a white man for one thing, and she's been married since like her young or middle 20s. So I doubt she's had like lots of, you know, opportunities to see a bunch of Asian wieners. So that did sound super gross. I just felt like they called out so many people. They were calling this one girl Crazy Amy or Rich Amy. It was, yeah, Cecile says it was all ick to me. I don't know. I don't know that we've ever heard a number, and I don't know if it was favored nations like ChumpCon was. So ChumpCon, everybody was paid $10,000. Even Doug, who ended up going above and beyond and kind of becoming like a director producer of ChumpCon. Lincoln the Golden says, how much do Bravo celebrities get paid for BravoCon? I mean, I don't know, because they're doing panels, they're doing the picture thing, but not everyone had a picture moment. I don't know if they were paid extra for taking pictures. I mean, I didn't even stand in line to take pictures at BravoCon. It was ridiculous to stand in line to them, you know, for the main ones. Anyways, wait, what? Jordy says, well, at least they didn't ask her why Asian pubes are straight again. Are Asian pubes straight? I don't even know. Like, what? Yvonne Gus says, I will never not giggle when you say wieners, Sarah from Texas. That's hilarious. Anyways, what did you think? I mean, overall, I will tell you, I really ended up watching the whole thing. I actually liked it. In the beginning, they were all like begging and talking about fan social, and they want to get booked for this, and they want to do traders, and they want to do celebrity Big Brother. And I'm like, okay, you've all had your moments. Like, slow your roll. Let's not be greedy. Nobody is hurting in the bank department. You know what I mean? Nobody is hurting in the celebrity department. It's not like you're, completely washed up. Nobody is, and you're a chump. Like, y'all are all 4 main chumps on Jeff Lewis Live. Like, y'all were invited to ChumpCon. Yeah, it was. Heather says, if this is how they spoke on camera about ChumpCon, I would have loved to hear what they would have said about it privately. So I bet you anything, these 4 are going to be getting together. I think they've become really good friends. This was recorded the day after ChumpCon. So a lot of them, Cynthia and Crystal have the podcast together, but they weren't like besties for 10 years before that either. They're still kind of getting to know each other. But I feel like they really did bond. I feel like they really do get along. So I'm kind of surprised when Jeff keeps saying, like yesterday, especially about, okay, we're going to quit talking about ChumpCon. We've talked about it too much. I'm like, I don't know. I kind of did a poll and asked, do you think it's too much? A lot of people have said, no, they love that they're talking about ChumpCon because everyone is kind of giving their own version of it, or different stories keep trickling out. Some people are saying, look, we've heard it all. Like we weren't there. We don't want to hear about it because, we're moving on. Yeah, you got to watch the video because, they're sitting on, so Reza and Joey are sitting on a couch together. And then Cynthia and Crystal have their own chairs with like some fake, you think this plant looks fake, this olive tree, their trees look so terrible on their podcast. They got to get some real trees. I'm like, come on already. Anyways, note to self, humble brag. But yeah, Joey's like texting on his phone. At one point, Crystal's on her phone. It's a very casual whatever, but I would suggest watching it on their YouTube. It's interesting. Wait, what? Robin says they post Bravo's salaries except Joey. I don't know his network. It's the hustle to keep them making money. Some people talk about their salaries, but not exactly, right? And we definitely know, they definitely talk about that, like Shaw's of Sunset went for, I think, 11 or 9 seasons. I can't remember. They definitely made a lot more money then than the first season or 2, Reza says. So they kind of talked about some details. It was really good. Joey at one point was like, I started Nutrafol, I was the first influencer to do that. I'm like, yeah, but everyone does Nutrafol. Like, I'm surprised. Like every influencer, it's like Bloom. Remember the Bloom, like green shit that everyone did Bloom. Now everyone's doing those gummies that Bethany Frankel was doing. You can definitely see when the same influencers are all sent, like every single one of them, they all get a code. They get paid off that code. That's why when Jeff does like row.com/Jeff, he's getting money off of that, which he should, because the reason people are signing up for it through row.com, through Jeff, is because he's got such a huge audience and they trust everything that he says. So they don't even care that he doesn't use the GLP-1 medication or has much experience with it. You know what I mean? Oh, really? Charlie Charles says Heather McDonald is super jealous of Matt Matthews because of how successful he is in the comedy world. Well, he's very young. It's kind of become a thing to look up people's ages lately, right? Matt Matthews' age, let's see. I think he's like mid-20s. And I feel like he bought his first house and, ranch or farm, I guess he calls it. Matt Matthews' age, I feel like he's like 20. Is he married? He's 28 years old. Wait. Okay. He's 32 years old. Okay, he's older than I thought. I thought he was like 20. He's a very young age. Very young age. He was born in January 1993 in Birmingham, Alabama. I think he's funny. It's this guy, if you've never seen him on TikTok. He like cusses at his chickens and, Wait, what? Jordy says, yes, Kimberly, Joey is definitely hitting the substance hard. Who, all 4 of them? Mariah says, I don't see them being around and relevant in 10 years' time. They're all relatively young. Now, the only one that's married, well, 2 of them, I guess 50% of them are married currently, is Reza and Crystal. But yeah, again, we'll chat about it in a second, but It's so bizarre. And, how much Crystal plays like the poor game. And I'm like, it's one thing to be frugal with your money and be like, look, I didn't want to spend. She talks about, where's the free food? She wanted free food at ChumpCon and how expensive the drinks were. And she was like, where's the food? Is Jeff going to pull out his credit card? I don't want to have to go and buy food. She's like, I found a $7 piece of pizza that I was eating all weekend. And I'm like, it's one thing to be cheap, but don't tell us you're poor because you're not. And then every once in a while, she'll be like, I mean, we do okay. I'm like, well, which is it, honey? Like, is your husband super successful? Is Lion King paying for 3 generations more of private schools? Is your coconut water doing that well? Is it not? Like, do you work? Do you not work? Like, she talks about the guilt of being a Chinese immigrant, the daughter of a Chinese immigrant and how they kind of, raise her to be financially, responsible. Reza talked about that too. I can always respect financial responsibility. I mean, I definitely call myself cheap. I'm very frugal. I'm very cautious with my money when I want to be, but I'm not going to tell you I'm poor either. And it's like Crystal's got goobers amount more money than me. And I'm like, why? Just stop. That's true. Robin says humble brag was true to the title. They are in the hustle game. Okay. So it makes sense. Anyways, let me know if you didn't like it, because like I said, I watched the whole dang thing. And let's chat about Monica and Joey too. Raquel says she just wants to be relatable. She knows that Jeff Lewis has this fan base she wants to tackle, which is not working. But don't you feel like a lot of us like her a hell a lot more than we did when she was on Beverly Hills? Like, I really couldn't stand her on Beverly Hills. I'm like, you're boring. Like, either talk about your eating disorder or don't. Like, are you over it or not? I felt like Jackie on New Jersey was talking about hers. It was odd at one of the shows where towards the end, the last season she was on, where she was talking about how skinny other cast members were, mainly like Erica Jane, who I'm sure is on Ozempic. And she was like, oh, I want to be skinny like that. I'm like, look, we know you've admitted to an eating disorder your whole life. Like, that's very odd of you to say. Beverly says, can you imagine having people in your face for 72 hours? They did buy their time. I mean, yeah. And I think they were paid well for it. I mean, and it wasn't exactly 72 hours in a row. Thank you, Charlie Charles, reminding people to hit the thumbs up button and celebrate a great vlog and a happy Friday. Yay! Exactly. Anyways, me too. Louise says, I'm excited to watch Love Hotel on Sunday with Shannon, Luann, Giselle, and Ashley. Me too. Definitely be watching that. Okay, Joey and Monica. He really comes at her a few times. So one of the things is he admits that he did hook up with a guy from an app, from a hookup app within 30 minutes of landing in Las Vegas. He didn't want to look bad. He didn't want to look like gross like that. But then he goes apparently in Kelly Dodd's room, at least tells Monica. We're now told he told a few people, and each of them he said, look, I just hooked up with someone within the first 30 minutes. It was great sex, but don't tell anyone. And it's like, look, so by the time and he's like, Monica told him, look, I won't say anything. Joey's like, look, as chumps, we all have secrets. Like, we all tell each other things like, this is in the vault. We're not going to chat about this. This is for off radio. The problem with that, it's very juicy. And he kind of has this reputation of like hooking up. So it's like, of course she's going to say that it happened. But also she may have said it and really not meant to come out, or kind of forgotten. Oh, I forgot this is one of the times you don't want to chat about hooking up, because usually you do want to chat about hooking up. You know what I mean? I don't know. It was, he's definitely upset with her, because he also mentions he thinks Monica was trying to call him out for looking unprofessional, for not being, I think, at the plane in time at the thing, like everyone's here but Joey. And he's adamant, like, I wasn't late. I wasn't unprofessional. They also talk about all these chump listeners. I guess there was a group of 4 women. It didn't sound like any of them liked them. So those 3 or 4 women that were together have to know who they were chatting about. I guess it's a group of women that were sitting with Reza at the brunch on Sunday. Well, Joey strolls in, not feeling great and not in a great mood. And these women basically are saying, oh, we saw you. You don't feel good because we were out with you till 6 in the morning or 6:30. And Joey's like, no, I wasn't. But even if he was, he's like, don't be saying that. Like, I don't want Jeff, who is my technical boss and friend. I don't want anyone to think that, I'm just not taking this seriously, because usually I'm very professional. All of them had something to say about those women. I mean, Reza, I think, let me know if you got this feeling. I feel like Reza was being told by these girls all this shit talk about Joey. And then when Joey showed up, Reza was like, oh, he's really mad about this. And he's saying they're lying about me. So, I was believing all this stuff. Oh, he was partying all night till now. Is there really a big difference between 4:30 in the morning or 6 a.m. in the morning in Las Vegas? No. Joey also makes it very clear that and it sounds like his feelings were hurt. For his pool party, there was like this group text that was sent out saying, hey, the party, I'm going to make things up, I think 11 to 2, whatever the time was at the pool party that Joey was hosting. Jeff sent a note out to everybody saying, hey, you don't have to come to the whole time, but just show up, just make an appearance, right? So for Joey, I think he felt, look, I was out late, I'm hungover, I don't feel good. And so if everyone didn't show up to my thing, and he notes people that showed up late, so he was definitely seeing like, oh, you can, I think he felt like he maybe wasn't supported in being the host of the pool party. Again, this is where I wonder if down the line, we're going to see some cracks in friendships, and maybe this was going to be home base for things that happen that, these friendships start like dying out or not being as strong as they were. Because when he shows up at brunch, he made it very clear on this podcast the next day, look, I didn't show up because everyone else wasn't told to show up the whole time. So I didn't feel good and I wasn't going to be there. Yeah, Stoney says, Joey is that dirty gossip girl we all knew in high school who went locker to locker whispering a big secret going, don't tell anyone, and then get mad when someone tells it before he gets to them. I mean, you're not wrong. I like Joey. I think he's a very sweet guy. I definitely think he has, is it imposter syndrome where you're worried about what other people think? I think he's always trying to be the first, the coolest, make everyone happy, not make anyone think bad about him. This is his business. He is, he is selling himself. He's selling his personality as Joey Zalzig. That is his business. And he's well aware there's no backup plan. Like, I can get canceled at any moment. I mean, I guess he could go back to working in marketing or clothing, whatever he was doing. But, this has become his thing. And there's no like, this month you're going to make 100,000. Next month you might make 40,000. Like, that's a big difference. So he admits that's why he rents an apartment, because he doesn't want to get out of his mind with payments on different things. Because I think he doesn't know how much he could ever make. I mean, there's no exact whatever. Yeah. Because what is Joey, like 32? Well, let's look up Joey Zalzig's age. I feel like I'm gonna pull a Joey Zalzig age. I haven't heard the name of Joey King came up. I'm gonna 32. He'll be 33 this summer. So he's 32 years old. Lincoln the Golden says, and Jeff needs to have a more detailed list of expectations for the talent, what they need to be at, when they need to be there, expectations. Seems like everyone had a different idea. Yeah, because even on this podcast, they're like, he wasn't really keeping tabs on everybody. I'm like, oh, Jeff is always keeping tabs. He is always paying attention. You know what I mean? He knows who goes above and beyond. He knows when Shane goes above and beyond, or he knows when Shane is feeling a little bit, Charlie says, Kelly Dodd is always talking about everyone's wallet. Money bag. Kelly Dodd is thirsty about money. Any people living better than her. She does like talking about her rich friends. Bonnie says, sorry if this was said, but do we think Joey didn't go to Cabo because Jeff went and he feels like he's moving into his space? Oh, I don't think it was we'll chat about that. I don't think it was a great move for Joey to have said yes to Molly in the Cabo trip. And then she very much said, oh, Joey bailed on us to go to Coachella. So I'm sure Joey ran it by Jeff and he said, well, sure, go do it. But I think Jeff is all about loyalty. And if he had said yes to Molly, it does sound like it does sound like Jeff became this broker for the trip. And he was the one to get these other people to maybe say yes to Molly coming. Because, oh, we're gonna go hang out with Jeff. We're gonna be on a plane with Jeff Lewis. Like, I don't know what they're paid, but there's a lot of influencers there. I mean, Brittany Haynes came in. I don't think Brittany Haynes was on Molly Sims' radar. Like, Brittany Haynes isn't a beauty influencer. Jeff isn't a beauty influencer. Shane isn't a beauty influencer. Now, Jackie Schimmel actually does talk about makeup a lot. She's been an influencer podcaster for forever. She knows exactly what she's doing, even though she, didn't do her first influencer job well. Very interesting. I just feel like I want to know now if if Monica and Joey have spoken yet, because I definitely think there's going to be some tension there. And I don't think Jeff is going to like that Joey is saying, because he was hesitant. He was like, oh, well, F it. Well, I'm just going to say it, and talking about Monica. And I'm like, these might have been some things you should have said and kept to yourself or with your little group 4 people. You know what I mean? Jordy says Joey's going to burn himself out in misery trying to keep up with the WeHo Joneses. He should find a husband, move to Montana, and get happy. I mean, did you hear what he said about Real Friends of WeHo too? So I actually watched Real Friends of WeHo. I admitted I liked the show. I liked the concept. I liked that it was gay men in WeHo. I liked that some were married, some were in relationships, some were dating. They weren't just all portraying them as these horribly awful people. I thought it was a really good, they all had jobs and big careers. I thought it was but they had drama. I mean, I thought it was a really good show. But Joey on Humble Brag was like, oh, I was the show. I carried the show. Like every scene was about me. And I was like, God, like, don't say that. Like, it was a little, like I said, it was a little cringe. Oh no, Yvonne Gal. That means it is not working. Wait, hold on. Yvonne Gal says, what does Molly sell again? Oh my gosh, she's been on Jeff Lewis 5 or 6 times. She sells Wise Beauty. It just had, this weekend is its 2-year anniversary, and that's why she's hosting this big influencer party in Cabo. YSEbeauty.com, code Jeff20 for 20% off and free shipping forever. YSE Beauty. Wise, which just spell it WISE. Like, why YSE? Nobody gives a shit about the weird spelling. Anyways, just let me know. What did you think? Did they cross the line? Did they tell too much gossip about the chumps that were there, that were rude, that crossed the boundaries, that they felt like they didn't want to be in their face too much? I don't know. It was a good podcast. I just don't know if it was good for them to say that all out loud. You know what I mean? I don't know. Christina says, is the Divorce Party podcast still recording? That's the one with Monica and Tom Arnold, which I think Tom Arnold is on soon. Divorce Party. I feel like everyone thinks you just make thousands of dollars on a podcast, and you really don't. So I don't know if a divorce podcast was a unique idea, but obviously Monica Casey has experience, although she's back with her ex-husband. Tom Arnold has been divorced 4 or 5 times. So he has lots of experience with that. Let's see when their last one was. Whoa, June of last summer? Wow. So apparently they're definitely on a pause. Dr. Donna was on March of 2024. So, if it was making money enough for them to spend their time, they would be doing the podcast. I think a lot of people think a podcast is going to make them money, and it definitely does not make a lot of money. It can be a side gig. It can be your main gig, but a lot else has to go into it. You can't just do a podcast and not, in my opinion, and not also do social media to promote that, which means video clips, posting, and all of that takes time. So, answer Jordy, somebody said, do you know the billionaire chump lady they talked about? Have you met her? I don't know if she was a billionaire. I mean, billionaire with a B is a lot. The one that they said was carrying oh shit, what's the fancy purse? The Hermes purse with the Birkin. And then wore a red dress. They definitely talked about her. I don't know if I've met her. If I have, I didn't know she was a billionaire, but that's kind of what you should do, right? No one should know you're a billionaire. So I don't know. The name Amy doesn't ring a bell as far as crazy Amy or drunk Amy they were talking about. So I don't know, but who knows? So many podcasts, Melissa says. It's true. There's so many. I don't know. Oh, Sarah's not on. Mayboo, do you watch Celebrity Big Brother in the UK? Do you know if JoJo Siwa is still on? I know it's come out that she's come out on the show as being queer instead of being lesbian. So that's all I know. That's the only news I know about her. Bonnie says, I love podcasts. Well, thanks for joining. Thanks for listening to ours. Anyways, by the way, thank you so much. There's over 8,000 taps of liking. Thank you, Robin. You're a big tapper over on TikTok. I really appreciate it. It gets all the people. It helps the algorithm. It helps other people to get sent to the YouTube, to the TikTok, not the YouTube, the TikTok. By the way, if you joined in late over on TikTok, the full episode goes up immediately on my YouTube channel at Sarah from Texas Podcast. And then about 10 minutes later, it goes up as a podcast everywhere at Sarah from Texas. I don't know. Don't get me to line. Stony says, what is the difference between queer and lesbian? I feel like this is my straight woman answer. I feel like lesbian means you are into women only in a romantic relationship. Queer can mean a little more like you're not narrowing things down. It could be, I think there's another word for it. Don't they also say pansexual? Queer is just more of a bigger term. Queer, I don't even think it means your sexuality. I think queer just means a state of mind. I don't know. I'm wrong. Don't ask me. Don't ask me. But I think that's what it is. Thank you, Charlie. Thumbs up. Let's finish the week strong. Very sweet. Thank you so much. Isn't that what pansexual? No, bi definitely means boys or girls. So there's a whole other people in there. Oh, but sometimes they don't let you make videos. Teresa says, post some videos of Matt Matthews if you can on my YouTube. I'll try, but it may not. They may be very strict about videos. So queer thank you, Nick James. Queer is an umbrella term that encompasses all. Thank you. You said that much more better for us. Oh, Megan, why would is it about addiction? Christina says Megan's second podcast has an actress from You on it. She enjoyed it. Bonnie says pansexual means whoever you're attracted to. Yeah, I think so. Okay. I want to hear your thoughts on Crystal. Okay, let's chat today's show. On the first hour was Molly Sims and Crystal Minkoff. I mean, lots of talk yet again. And Jeff and them say basically they had an intervention with Crystal last night at dinner and basically had to say, look, quit doing the crying poor thing. Like, quit telling us you're poor. Like, at one hand, you've got 2 young kids in private school. You've got a nanny, multiple cars, lots of vacations. I don't know how many houses they own. I don't know how much money they have in the bank. I understand, again, as I said earlier, I understand and respect the idea of being frugal and not just wasting money. But I also think it's odd to have your husband sit in first class on a trip from Spain back to LA. Like, that's a long ass trip. And you sit in the back of the, like the normie section, like, number 52 row. I'm like, it's just weird. But she just says, I can't imagine spending the money. It just seems extravagant to me. It seems wasteful. So I don't know. I just think it's a bit much. I wish she would, as I said about humble brag, I think it was a little cringy when all 4 of them, who none of them are hurting for money at all, none of them are hurting for gigs at this point, none of them are hurting for fame. They were all complaining about that. They want to be back on TV. They want this gig. They want be an influencer. They want this much money. They want to do the fan social. They're just like, no, 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 no. It was just a lot. It was just a lot. Yeah, maybe. I mean, if you're not sitting with your husband on an international flight when you can very easily afford and should want the comforts, if you can very easily afford it, she's not anywhere near a normal person with finances. She's got a lot of money. Kimberly J says Crystal needs therapy about her financial shit. It's all generational trauma. Yeah, like the guilt, she says, from her parents, right? Speaking of money, Michael Riley just shitting out dollar bills over there in Orlando. Michael Riley, I was eating the rest of my lobster lunch. Sorry, y'all. Oh my gosh. I'm kidding. I'm just jelly. What did I have for lunch? Oh, I had some the egg scramble that I make. The scrambled eggs, the vegetables, the tomatoes, the mushrooms, the sausage, and then I put it on a tortilla that's high fiber, and then a little cream cheese. So boring, but I will have a nice dinner tonight at an Italian restaurant. Melissa says, you think Reza doesn't need money? He lost a huge paycheck with Shaw's being canceled. I don't disagree about that. And I love that he had a lifestyle up here and he brought that lifestyle down, because also with real estate, you never know. But he made a really good, and I respect this decision. I don't disrespect their hustle to keep working. I don't disrespect their desire to keep being famous and keep being relevant, because all of that, with everything they do, it all is tied in. It's like, which came first, the chicken or the egg? When you're on TV, you're going to get more ads. When you get more ads, you're going to get another ad. When you do a bunch of ads, you're going to get more TV shows. I mean, it's just like, what comes first? You're going to get more influencer weekends. You're going to get more, code Jeffs, code Cynthia, code Humble Brags. You know what I mean? So I don't, it's a fine line, because I thought it was interesting and everything. It was just a bit mopey. It was just a bit, why aren't I'm like, well, lower your freaking prices. Like, the market will tell you what you're worth. If nobody is booking fan socials with you, you are not worth the price that's up there. You're not all that in a bag of chips, apparently. Mayboo says Crystal isn't broke. She's just trying to blend in and be one of the girls or the boys. Yeah. Okay, so they are at this influencer weekend at Nobu in Cabo. Sounds very fancy, very fun. It's the 2-year anniversary of Wise Beauty. Like I said, Jeff code 20, or code is Jeff 20. So Jeff 20 is the code to get 20% off Wise Beauty and free shipping from now till eternity, or now till he's not a chump, which I don't think will be. One thing, I've never heard of this Labubu, these little stuffed animals that go on your Birkin, your Louis Vuitton luggage, your kid's backpack at the private school. So apparently it's a company, popmart.com. So I looked them up. And as we know, it is a huge thing. So when my kids were little, there was kids' clothing. I can think of one, Matilda Jane, that wasn't overly expensive. But if you got some of their platinum dresses, they were very limited, and they would start selling at, say, 11 in the morning. So you had to be on your computer. The site would crash. If you got a size 2, you just had to take it and hope that you could trade for a size 6 if you needed to, or people would just instantly, they wouldn't even have the Matilda Jane dress in hand. They would literally post it up on Etsy or Facebook saying, what was the word they would say? I was all into selling my kids' clothes. It would mean it was coming. It's ordered. In other words, I got this dress, but I don't want it. I'm going to sell it at 3 times the price, or if you will trade with me, if you got the size that I need, then we'll trade, because you just got whatever size you could get. Like, it was so hard to get their stuff. So I looked up this Pop Mart stuff. They're a lot more than $27. And that's retail. So that's hoping you get the one you want. So it's these little, see, here's one. They're called monsters. Little tiny stuffed animals that are on, let me see if I can get that on TikTok. Little tiny stuffed animals. And then I guess because people will steal them off of your backpack or off of your bag, there's little locks you can buy. It was crazy. So this one is $27.99. I can't see how big it is. Email me when available. But here's one. It's kind of weird. $20.99 says buy now. So maybe it's available. Here's one for $314. So I think this is the actual retail price, because I don't know, Labubu's. Never heard of it. Bev says people will buy anything. Yeah, Bonnie was like, I like how Jackie kind of shit on the boo-boos. I mean, Jackie is always gonna lead it straight, right? So I did think I mean, if she's reselling them, that's one thing, but her thought process is bizarre. I understand, like, buying something and thinking, oh, like with the Matilda Jane clothes, I could buy my kids a dress and know they could wear it 2 times, and then I could turn around and sell it for the same price or more, even with shipping. It was ridiculous. So I understand the fact that thinking, oh, I can turn around and resell this, or I can buy all of these. But what does she need the $50 or the $100 profit for? Like, that's small change in her bank account, right? Like, seriously, it was so crazy. Wait, Kelly said who was broke? Kim says. I don't know. You're talking about Kelly Dodd? I don't know. Michael Riley says they're broke now that they're doing everything to that house. They will have no money left. Well, I mean, couldn't they sell this house, flip that they're doing, the house that they're living in? Or is this supposed to be their like forever home? I don't know. I know everyone keeps talking to Jeff, even Sarah Foster yesterday, which is annoying to me. I'm still waiting on you and your next TV show. I want you to do my house. I'm like, bitch, you got money. Like, stop waiting on Hollywood Housewives season 3, which ain't coming. Like, seriously. Wait, why? Kay Kitty says that fan social app sounds so dangerous. But why? Wait, Teresa Kelly Dodd said that she's broke? I was surprised. Well, what does broke mean? I mean, I would love to know how much comes out every month and how much money is coming in, and then how much money they have invested. You know what I mean? We'd love to know. The rental sold? They had a rental? Wait, they sold the pickle party ball house? No, they didn't. He just promoted it recently and talked about it in this. Wait, what? Somebody tell me, did they sell that house? That's weird. I'm shocked they sold it. Did they really? Oh, the Hamptons house. That was his from forever ago, though. And, no. Yeah, they sold his house from the Hamptons, but they made a shit ton of money on that. Oh, God, I just saw what time it was. I forgot that I had a mom duty, so I knew I had to get off like 10 till. My daughter's going to be a lifeguard, so she's got training. Anyways, okay. On the second hour was Jackie Schimmel and Brittany Haynes. They were, all right. Brittany bitched and moaned about her flight, but other than that, everything was good. Thank you so much for joining. If you're a subscriber on Instagram, for $4.99 a month, I will see you Sunday night at 7 Eastern on our Ask Me Anything. Thank you so much for joining, and I will see you Monday if you're not a Royal Trumpet. Bye, y'all.